5:30 p.m. on your super dial, Mainland 98.3 FM will welcome you roommates as we discuss the situations.
Oga Police, no worry, I see you. You know you can do the right thing, right? You know you can do without that bribe. You know you don't even have to harass that young man because he is properly dressed. And you think he's a Yahoo boy? You don't even have to assault that citizen whom you have sworn an oath to protect. Yes, we understand that the pay is not good enough to take you home. That you are still wearing a uniform that you bought with your own money 5 years ago. It's no news that the government has not done enough by you. We feel your pain and we wish things could be different as we continue to call on government to wake up to their responsibilities. We want the police to be our friends, just as it is boldly stated across the various police stations nationwide. And from Mainland 98.3 FM, we implore you to do better. We love you and we support you always.
A very good evening to you. Welcome to the Situation Room live on Mainland 98.3 FM. I want to trust that your day has been going well. Welcome to the Thursday edition of the show. Today is the third day of the month of October 2024. My name is 괏ᴜᴜ Akinyoda, and it's always my pleasure to have you join us every single day of the week from Mondays to Fridays from 4 to 5:30 p.m. where we'll always have that conversation around leadership, accountability within the public space, and everything else you can imagine. Well, Tuesday was an amazing time. It was the 1st of October 2024. We celebrated the 64th anniversary of Nigeria's independence, and of course we celebrated the 30th anniversary of Mainland FM. We also celebrated the start of a new month. A whole lot happened on that day, and of course we had the show for 120 minutes. I had three guests join us on the show. Started off with the executive director of the Electoral College Nigeria, Kunle Lawal, was the guest first, and then we moved over to Professor Ilham Lamley from the Center for Conflict Management and Peace Studies, University of Jos, and of course the last of the guests we had was Dr. Santos Larab. They call him SALT, SLT. He's a member of the academia as well. He's a political activist. He's a social commentator. He's just a man with so much part, and the responses we got that day was amazing. Hey, we're back again. Today's Thursday, and I want to also, appreciate everyone that reached out for the anniversary of Mainland FM. Well, I was not here to do that yesterday, so I felt it was important we do the same, because without you, the 3 years that we've been here would certainly never have had all of the stories and the beautiful memories we've had together, because without you, there can't be Mainland FM. We're here because you continue to, converse with us. You continue to make us your number one talk show, talk radio in Lagos for all of our programs, from politics, news, current affairs, sport, entertainment, and everything. We say thank you. Welcome. It's Thursday, and that means Mr. Miwademi joins us on the show. He's the chief political editor of Guardian newspaper, and well, a whole lot is always in the news every single day when you wake up. all through the week, I think beginning from last week, the whole conversation around EFCC, Nigerian Correctional Facility or Services, the very dark man, down to Bobrisky himself, the one they called Okuneye, Idris Okuneye. It's just been a whole lot. And for each time I had to watch the House of Representative sitting on that issue, the responses, the manner of conduct, even from officials of the Nigerian Correctional Services, honorable members, the man that was summoned himself, his lawyer, the responses, the buzz around the social media. I just wonder if we truly understand what democracy is about. In a country where the people are having to deal with survival as if it's a war situation, in a country where people are struggling to put body and soul together, in a country where people can barely afford a decent meal. Nobody's even talking of balanced diets. Nobody's talking of a square meal of 1, 2, 3. People now ration food. I mean, you look at kids that are about to withdraw from schools because they couldn't meet up with the tuition fee. Some of them, their parents had to withdraw them and take them to less expensive schools, irrespective of whatever quality they would meet in those places. It's just been a whole lot. You look at the economic condition of the country as we speak. You look at the security challenges that we're facing. So imagine the people in Borno as we speak. I mean, a lot of attention had moved away from the human. It's not a natural disaster because it was one that could have been avoided if the right warnings were responded to. I mean, a lot of lives were lost, billions of naira in properties were also destroyed, but we moved on as quick as we always do. Look at the unfortunate boat mishap that happened in Niger State yesterday as well. The numbers of the dead are still not confirmed, but as new time, it's been reported that over 25 people already. These are things that should concern the country. I understand the whole conversation around the oversight function of the House of Representatives, but I mean, when you listen to a deputy director in the Nigerian Correctional, deputy controller rather, in Nigerian Correctional Services, saying that his suspension was social media suspension, it wasn't properly suspended. It leaves a lot to be desired of how people saddled the responsibility of fixing this country conduct themselves in public. I also watched when one of the rest members was saying that she's feeling disgruntled and disappointed the fact that she's been sitting in that hall for hours just talking about Bobrisky, talking about very dark man, talking about EFCC, when a decent and a proper investigation should have been conducted that does not even require public debate or being exposed to court of public opinion. It's a big issue and the right authority should have stepped in, and that's the fact. Are there truths behind the allegations of EFCC officials being bribed, being paid 15 million, according to what Idris Okuneye said in that reported audio that was played? These are the issues that should have been investigated. And then you also see a deputy controller of prisons coming out to say that because of the gender or the physical appearance of Idris Okuneye, the same man that identified as a man when he was sentenced, so he got to the point where he was supposed to be kept in the cell, and then they now started being concerned about the fact that I had parts that resembles a woman, and this is the same person that identified as a man. He was sentenced as a man. So it's just a whole lot of contradictions everywhere. And then you ask yourself again, did he truly stay in the prison cells for the 6 months he was sentenced to for abuse of naira? Why was the money laundering charges dropped in the allegations as well? All these are the issues you would expect to hear at conversations like that, where the reps were performing their oversight functions, but it was just a whole lot of shenanigans, people just making a mess and a joke of a process that had not just embarrassed the country, but also brought into ridicule an institution that is supposed to be fighting corruption. The Economic and Financial Crime Commission, alongside the ICPC, are supposed to be the two statutory, anti-corruption agencies that we have in Nigeria. So when, some of the officers are alleged to have been bribed, it's not supposed to be an issue that will be exposed to public debate, or an issue that everybody will make a joke about, or issues that people will make skits and make banter about. It's a serious situation. If the institution that is supposed to fight corruption is alleged to be corrupt, then it should worry you and I. It shouldn't be something we throw away the main issues and then start talking about. Imagine someone that was made to appear before the House of Representatives, elected officials, covered by Nigeria, saying, if I speak here, make I die. That level of disrespect, and a lot of people are making a joke of the whole process. We should talk to ourselves. If truly we want this country to make progress, you and I, we have roles to play. We have to get to that point where we throw away our biases. The fact that you didn't vote for a political party does not mean you should pray for the country to burn. It does not mean when there are issues to be addressed, it becomes, oh, why are you going after these ones when there are these people that should have been arrested? I've seen a lot of times on social spaces where EFCC will parade, convicted internet fraudsters, and then people will say, oh, the politicians are there, leave these boys, they are collecting what their grandfathers or what they took from their grandfathers, leave these petty thieves, go after the politicians. And I'm wondering, how do we get to that point where we don't even understand what the law says about criminality? It's a whole lot. We're going to look at so much of such on the show today. It's a State of the Nation conversation. Mr. Miwade, good evening, and thank you for staying on the line and listening to me rant on the show today. You're welcome.
Good evening, Lagos, and good evening, Okoyemi. I trust God you are doing good.
Well, the answer to that is basically a reflection of what the country is. So I want to assume that I'm doing good. Well, Mr. Miwade, the president had left for the United Kingdom, and beneath that conversation is the whisper of lobbying in anticipation for a potential cabinet reshuffle by the president. The special advisor to the president, Mr. Bayo Onanuga, we played the insert last week, talked about the fact that, well, the president has approved a cabinet reshuffle, but the timing of that had not been fixed. So, people are saying, though, I saw the headline of the Guardian newspaper, and I saw the picture, the president departing London, and a host of other people, trying to get into other planes. And I understand the interpretation of that. And I understand the interpretation of that. But we had this conversation, but not in details last week. I know, and and everyone listening today would admit that we're due for a cabinet reshuffle. If the president says these were the best hands he could get on board after he got sworn in, and it took him months before he could arrive at these individuals that have been saddled the responsibility of leading the country in terms of helping the president to interpret whatever it is he has in mind when he came up with the renewed hope agenda ahead of the 2023 election. These are people, a few of them are not even politicians, yes, ex-governors, former party leaders, all of them. But the last 1 year of this administration has left a lot to be desired. You look at the economy, you look at sports, you look at housing, you look at education, you look at, the interior, you look at some of these ministries, and the question is this: are these truly the best of the about, let me say, 100 million people that the president could have picked from? Let's assume that there are a lot of kids that can't hold these responsibilities, a lot of elderly people that also can't be ministers. But what happened to all of the people? Bosun Tijani was a strong critic of this administration before he was brought on board. What happened to that ministry? What happens to the Ministry of Aviation? What happens to the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy? What happens to the Ministry of Sports? where the sport minister says he does not have to be a sport person to be the sport minister. What is our sport calendar? What has it been like in the last 1 year? Have we made progress? What happened at the Olympics? There was an investigative panel that was set up by the House of Reps, and the Minister of Sport was supposed to appear on the floor of the House today alongside the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Sport. A lot of issues for us to look into. But more importantly, Mr. DME, what are you looking out for, if at all? There will be cabinet reshuffle from this government in the next few weeks, according to what Mr. Bayo Onanuga said.
Well, thank you very much, Okoyeni. And I'm sure some of our listeners, I think, will admit that we try to diagnose this issue and come to the conclusion that almost that we have not seen a poster boy or I think any of the ministers that is that significant, that is that important, and not has done something fantastic that they can begin to clap that, oh, see what's happening in this ministry. And we also try to look at the whole system, that is the system that good enough, or they have a conducive environment at least to perform. I think we tried that one last week. And also, even we, to the extent of looking at the whole gamut of the system, in the sense that I think how much of resources available to this minister, that which I think by now we're supposed to have been trying to do Q3 of our the budget performance if we're to be a serious country. I don't want to delve into, I think, the National Assembly issue that we talked about in the intro. I'm sure we are coming to that. But what I'm saying is that we are in Q3 now, where the National Assembly, we passed Q3, we are on for the fourth one, where by Q3 now, the National Assembly is supposed to have been so busy looking at our budget performance. Because in the next couple of weeks now, I think the next year budget will be presented to them. So by now, I think the budget performance for 2024, the first, I think 3 quarters, I was supposed to begin to have a clearer picture through the oversight function of the National Assembly. What I'm saying is that if the Minister of Education was appropriated, we are supposed by now know how much has been released to that ministry, and the detail to all other ministries. So with that one, we will begin to now evaluate the performance of the minister vis-a-vis the amount released. But at the same time, I want to admit that you don't need money, at least to do everything, even to initiate the best of the policies. It's just for you at times to give direction. So it's not, I think when the Minister of Aviation, that many people didn't know that the guy was trying to do a kind of a silent work, but not up to his expectation. I think the Aviation Minister, and he tried with that, you don't need money, he made all the, I think, international communities in the aviation, people, the leader in the aviation sector, to know that we cannot begin to operate two set of laws. At least when we're looking at after the PASA, so if you want to fly to their country, these are the things you must, extra laws you must, that guides you. But they are coming to Nigeria. No, nothing. So it's basically whatever goes for the gander is good for the goose. I can see how Emirates had to be stopped, and even some foreign airlines had to be stopped, that whatever happens, condition makes you to fly here, would also be the condition for our people to fly there.
True.
And we saw how, I think, one called ERPs and some other airlines are now
picking up,
going back to international routes. So, which you don't need money. I'm just giving an instance that some areas that you don't need money to make a huge difference. So, but yes, all these ministers, I think we have seen what they have done, and by and large, as I said, we have not seen anyone that is spectacular. But when the president now said he's going on vacation, 2-week working vacation, in London. We know that medical doctors are domiciled in the UK. Forget that Nigeria have spent close to 20-something billion to make Aso Clinic to standard. I think, yes, I'm telling you, because before Buhari left, I think close to 21 or 23 billion, I think was spent, not appropriate, spent, I think, to give the clinic a facelift and to equip the place with best equipment money can purchase. So, if those things are there that our present doctor, I think they are in England. Even if they are in England, why can't they come here to do some of those, examinations? Even what stops our country, our president, he wants to go on holiday. Why can't he spend his holiday in the Gᴜᴜ ranch in Tinapa? You know what I'm saying? Why can't he spend his holiday in the waterfall where they have a resort center?
At the Kogosi warm spring.
The Kogosi, yes, that I'm saying the jury. So because the Kogosi is around the jury there, and I put it up. I've been there several times. You know, we have many places that are quiet. Even we have many botanical gardens with resort centers that you can have a quiet time for 2 weeks. If the Mr. President of Obudu Ranch there, you know the temperature the Obudu Ranch is as good as in Europe. I'm telling you, the cold, I think whatever you want in that axis. But if our president well, it speaks a volume to many things about Nigeria, I've not seen when a British Prime Minister will say he's traveling to Africa, even to America,
for medical
European countries to go out for medical
or annual leave,
vacation, annual leave. So with all the resource centers he has in his country, I think had it been if Mr. President has seen this opportunity to go to any of these resource centers, he will have attracted attention to that and have promoted tourism in this country. But that's not the point of our argument here today. We know that when they have this kind of assignment, we try to study. We also know that each time that happens, don't be surprised. Even when from now you begin to read, I think in newspapers or from our bloggers, how many people
I've gone to pay official visits to the president.
Not only official visits, that by tonight you see many people now traveling to London for one thing or the other.
The same people that saw the president off at the airport, they will still fly to go and meet him.
If the Mr. President chose the best year performance of all of them, according to his own expert advisor on this evaluation criteria, none of them scored 50%. None of them. It's only one or two, I think about three, we got to know that I think maybe scored 40% or thereabouts. So it's a failure on its own side as well, because you have the opportunity to look for the best hand in the country. But you know what? Let me tell you something. The best brains are not easy to come by. Most of everybody he appointed as minister here saw the appointment as a privilege and as opportunity. Even this has no demand done them a great favor. And I want to give you 2 or 3 instances. You know, the best brains are not easy to come by. Right? They are not the associates. Those who have what it takes to turn things around. And I don't want to go too far. Do you know what it took President Obasanjo to get Okonjo-Iweala to come and serve in Nigeria? I'm saying it because we reported we were in position to know those efforts. The first time Obasanjo sent people, delegates to go and meet her, the woman turned them down. That me to come and do what? No, she said no to them. Obasanjo himself went there. The woman said no. Obasanjo had to rally some world leaders, including Obama. I think, and some eminent people in the world, for Okojewola to agree to serve in Nigeria. And then when the woman agreed tentatively, she asked that let's have our job description. After they agreed on job description, they wanted to now say, no, hey, don't announce yet. Let's agree on our salary. I know how much to pay your minister. I'm not going to take that one. Right. Because I'm not coming to steal money. But this is what I'm earning as a vice president of the World Bank. So what you want to offer me is a peanut. You know, it took them several days and months to agree that the woman will earn a salary in dollars. President just shouted, that never happened. That even as a president, I was not earning in dollars. Yes, I was coming to at least to do this, to do that. That's what I'm saying. And, you know what? They had to agree on the terms of this woman. And this woman came, she was the one that wrote the blueprint for the debt forgiveness. And the woman changed the economy. Forget what anybody will say. We've not had a robust and good economy since Obasanjo left. Nigeria baked a very big cake. But unfortunately, politicians ate and stole this cake. And thereafter, we've not seen anybody baking or giving us as much as that cake. But they are still eating more from the very meager ones they are baking. Even when Buhari was presiding over the worst of the economy ever in the history of this country, even that you are borrowing money even to pay salaries, they were still stealing. But the point I'm trying to make here is that the Obasanjo took to get Okojewola. We say the same effort to get all these guys to have Vienna. Now,
Okay, I think I have to call Mr. DME back. We're struggling with that connection. I will try and link up back with him. Well, Mr. DME is the chief political editor of Guardian newspaper, and he joins me on the show on Thursdays. And we're looking at it's a matter of when, not if, according to what Mr. Bayo Onanuga said in terms of the cabinet reshuffle of the president. And now that the president had traveled to the UK for 2 weeks on his annual leave, a lot of people are already insinuating that there will be a lot of lobbying going on in respect to who gets what, who is going to be reassigned, who is going to get what. Mr. Miwa, sorry we lost connection with you and then we have to call you back.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, we lost connection with you, so we have to call you back. Please go on.
So, where did we stop, please? Where did we stop?
You were talking about the effort that, the former President Obasanjo put into getting, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, and did the president put the same effort into the people that we have now, or they just feel like it's their chance?
Good. Did you know also effort Obasanjo took to get additional into the cabinet? Who is presently
president?
President. Even after the second term.
He was the Minister of Agriculture then.
Yes. Do you know? Do you know that even despite the fact that America specifically wanted to have the second term? So if somebody has the dignity, integrity of fighting America, you understand? And got the second term. So we have a number of credible professionals, people that have made their marks in the international business environment in that administration. So when you have such people that have done something in this country, then compare them with the likes of people frustrating for the president after appointing them. If many people knew what happened with Obasanjo and Okojewola, they would know what it is to be a minister. Each time Obasanjo wanted to go beyond what is normal, the woman will ask her resigning. Because she has second address. She was threatening Obasanjo each time that I'm going to resign and go back. And Obasanjo will now rethink. But who among all those people can tell Tinubu to stop whatever he wanted to do? Even if it's quite So those are the areas we begin to see, I think, how minister performs. How many of them can look up to him and say, "Oh God, you are going in the right direction"? How many can say, "Sir, we are not going, that's who you promise." It's not possible. Obasanjo will make some promises, and by the time he gets home, Okojewola will present facts why those promises cannot be fulfilled. And Obasanjo will turn it a political statement. How many times have we seen this? It's not even when the president made mistakes, they follow suit, they followed it. So these are the problems we have. So it's now left for him. He made the first mistake that in a year, some of them could not account for anything. So if he wants to make the same mistake now by going to London and bringing in some new hands to do one or two things himself, and most times they are not responsible to us. They are responsible to the because to say they are not doing good. But he should be ready to, I think, they receive the bashing here and there from Nigeria. Because whether we like it or not, we are all feeling the impact of, I think, the incompetence and many wrong things, lack of discretion, I think, displayed by some of those ministers. But Nigerians will talk, and they will speak louder now. We will talk now. You understand? And you can see the protest that greeted our independence anniversary. We will see how it was celebrated throughout the country. Because Nigerians can no longer pretend that all is well when we are having difficulty to feed ourselves.
Mr. Adeyemi, before we leave this cabinet conversation, you also alluded to the fact that the ministers are not directly accountable to Nigerians. They are only to report to the person that the Constitution empowers to appoint them, which is Mr. President. But it is also important to note that the ministers would probably not do more than it is expected or assigned to them to do. And this is what I mean. The president came up, drafted the renewed hope, templates, used it to campaign prior to the 2023 presidential election. Most of these people are not even part of the drafting of that particular policy document. But Tᴜɪ̀nᴜ at that time was all over social media criticizing the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari. Now he's part of that cabinet. And a few of them as well that probably they're just facing their own election. The current Minister of Sport won election to represent his senatorial district before the president pulled him to serve in his cabinet. So a lot of these people are not even part of that policy document. Their failure or success, depending on who is evaluating them, can we put it on the inability of Mr. President to interpret what he wants and make them do those things, or it is just them not be able to do it irrespective of what responsibilities they have?
Mr. President has his dream and a vision as encapsulated in that document. And he is the driver. As a driver, you give direction. We cannot hear now saying to say that those who drafted that should come to the cabinet. No. Anybody can easily key into it. We are all Nigerians. My brother, we don't need, it's not a rocket science to know that Nigerians are hungry. We don't need, it don't have to be a first class breeder. It's not better. At least to find solution to some of these problems. If only, I think people are working, I think with the idea of a level of patriotism in the actions and interpretation of policy. You know what? The problem we have is that some people know what is good for the public, but they try to locate their personal interest in that. Once they could not locate their personal interest in what is good for the public, they now begin to retweet, at least to continue to rejig the problem, what's supposed to be the best of policies, so how it could accommodate their personal interest. And that has been the problem with leadership, with our leaders in this country. I'm telling you the truth. If we have patriotic Nigerians that are ready to serve, if we have patriotic Nigerians that are not really going to the office to amass wealth, if we have some patriotic Nigerians that do not see public office as opportunity to the years have arrived, that's what I'm saying. Certainly, making all these things work, they are not rocket science, for God's sake. My brother, are you telling me because we are not talking of you going to the moon, or we are not asking you this time around now that I think we are talking of nuclear science here. Nothing metaphysical in what we are talking. Are you saying that it's too much for Nigerians to award a contract with all sense of responsibility and ensure that contractor works according to the details? But how will a contractor work according to the details when people awarded the contract, everything was the contract was
shrouded in secrecy?
When the details of the contract not made known to Nigerians, when again that payment, we know what goes on into the payment, how much get to the contractor out of how much. Who will now ask the contractor to work according to specification? We are talking of a mega project, one of the most expensive
in the history of our democracy.
One single project that consumed trillions of naira. Calabar,
coastal line,
Lagos coastal line. That it was not it was not the bidding was not known when it was published. How they arrived at the contractor was not known to Nigeria, and how much has been paid before they started work is not in the public. How many who have seen the structural design of this project for monitoring? Under normal circumstances, from where you are now, you're supposed to punch your system to ask for details about structural engineering of this project. For you to see where we are expecting 600 meters, with where we are expecting 1,000 feet or meters width, where we are expecting 7 bridges, and what is going on those bridges. And that's how people can monitor projects. But do you have access to it? Well, the point I'm trying to make here is that Mr. President is the driver. Whoever he appoints to give direction, whoever he appoints will submit proposals, and it's the president that will take, do this and do this. And the minister may not work beyond what has been approved for him to do. So if you try to lay the blames essentially too much on Mr. President, we are not getting it right. So Mr. President appointed those he thought were the best. It's like your football team. Your coach appointed the best players. He bought the best players he thought were good for you. Is that also?
But Mr. Miwa, you also know the consequences of that decision. When those players don't give results, the coach is fired.
Well, they will fire them. It's you or I that will fire them. Not you and I will fire them. They are responsible to him. So if the president says I'm good for this office, we now say I'm not good. Okay, if you are the one in charge of this program. If the producer says I as an analyst on Thursday are no longer good for you,
I'll fire you.
Immediately now say, well, Daniel, we are sorry, eh? I think now. So what I'm saying is that we should lay the blame appropriately to where it belongs. And belongs to Mr. President. And you take responsibility. As you apologize to Nigerians that the first team I gave you failed. So I'm sorry. I'm replacing them. So I'm hoping that the Nigerian Warriors team, are you sure those who are giving us now, they are better than the previous one? They will tell you yes. But the more we place association higher than the assignment we want to give people, we are going to start getting the same result. You know what? I'm not saying Mr. President is not a politician. But what smart politicians do is that in the beginning of the administration, you don't play policy with it. I'm telling you, do something. You go for the best place to deliver. Politicians will shout. But after those guys might have done good work for you for 3 years, or thereabouts, you're not going to election. You understand? You now invite people to come and shop. I'm just being realistic with you. Politicians are coming to shop. But they should not start shopping from the beginning of the administration. Because it's going to have impact on your assessment. If you look at one of those allegations against some of these ministers, Bayer was saying that some of them were not selling the policies and achievements of the Mr. President very well. What are you going to sell? Sabra, do you need to strongly market a good product?
No.
Now we are now saying that when Mr. President got there, a bag of rice from 31,000 has come to 14,000 or 15 or 20.
You don't need to address the public about that. We know.
We are the ones that ask Mr. President, how did you make it? How did it happen? How were you able to achieve this? Do you understand? Or we are now saying that before Mr. President came on board, we were not getting 24-hour power supply, but 70% of Nigerians now are not getting 24-hour power supply. So we now begin to ask Mr. President, how did he do it? But if you're now saying they are not selling the achievement, what are they going to sell? Okay, tell me what they're going to sell. Are they going to sell the bag of friends at 100,000 naira now from 20,000 naira? Are they going to sell to Nigerians one price that is now
1,100?
1,100 yesterday? Do you understand? So are they going to sell that one to Nigerians? Do you understand? Or what is the explanation they want to give me that I bought 10,000 worth of fuel to my Corolla is not up to 10 liters, 9 liters for 10,000 naira? Do you understand? Tell me what any minister would tell me, and I will relate to any Nigerian. I don't know. What are they going to sell now? Because there is nothing on ground to sell. So unless a good liar, they want to start telling people lies that maybe they're not selling bag of rice at 40,000. Even the one they said they're going to bag of rice, they said they're going to be sent to civil servants.
We have not even seen it.
So let Mr. come and say that to us that they're buying it. Let some ministers go to their constituency and tell them things are now better. If they will not stone it. Let the ministers go to their villages, to their constituency, to go and tell people that things are better in Nigeria now. They will stone him. They will burn their houses. And that is the truth. So these people kept quiet. Some lawmakers had almost 8 weeks vacation. They stayed put in Abuja jail. They
couldn't go to their constituencies.
Because they know the problem of 202K, they were going to meet here. You understand? So they could not travel. And what would they say? Will Onuga go to his village and face them physically and tell them things are now better? Will he carry go there and say it? So the truth is that Mr. President, the bus stops are unstable and she's ready to take responsibility. That's it. So I'm not going to blame these ministers, the island boys. I'm not going to blame anybody for anything. We didn't vote for them. They didn't promise us anything. And we didn't appoint them for Mr. President. He appointed them. And once they are there, I think he's ready, to speak for them. He's ready at least to accept whatever they are doing. If one is not performing well, you fire him. No law stopping you from appointing a minister and within a month.
And send him out.
No, nothing stops you. Nothing stops you. No constitutional encumbrance to that. So I think let's talk of people that we know that we voted for. But the ministers, they were there to go and chop. All of them. It's not their turn. At least to go and chop. That can't. I don't see anyone there. I don't see one.
It's painful. Because one would expect that with all of the time spent in putting all of this together, a lot of people also said, "Oh, 1 year is too early." This and that. But we'll keep that conversation going. But
Mr. Ope, we are not saying 1 year is enough to do Eldorado of Nigeria. But 1 year is good for a foundation that will give hope.
At least they said the Saturday that will be good, we know from Friday.
That's right.
Okay.
We want to see some moves that will give us hope. We want to see some strategic thinking that Nigeria will say, hey, we need, I think in the next 3 months, the next 4 months, the next 6 months, no, this will happen. What is giving hope now? Maybe when our friends, at least I know we have very brilliant callers. So let them tell us what is now giving us hope.
Mr. Miwa, let me. I promised I wasn't going to take the entire 90 minutes with you because I had to pull you out of a commitment. But before we leave, the president also talked about, the National Youth Conference of 30 days, and what they said was that. Let me read that particular line. He said the conference would be a platform to address the diverse challenges and opportunities confronting our young people who constitute more than 60% of the population. Mr. Muiwa, do we need 30 days to sort out the problems that are facing the young people in this country? 30 days. And of course, we still have a national conference report of 2014 that we've not looked into. But the presidency is setting up another national youth conference that would run for 30 days. Do we need up to that, Mr. Miwa, to identify the problems that the young people are facing in this country?
Can I tell you some things in administration? there are a lot of gimmicks that, when you know that I think you are not getting the real support of the people. But there are some things you do first that distract their attention from the main issues. Do you understand? So when you distract them from the main issue, so the pressure will come down a bit on you. Do you understand? And this is one of those things we want to see. Many governments do that. The youth conference is nothing but a distraction. It's nothing but a waste of time. And it's nothing but to divert attentions of Nigeria from the main issues. To start arguing on what is not. There was a conference in 1995, Constitutional Conference. There was a Constitutional Conference in 2014. Everybody believed have solved some of the problems. What happened to the reports of those documents? As the Mr. President himself eulogized that report of that 2014 conference, almost all leaders in Nigeria are saying everything we want is in that report. Then, what stops him from building early consensus to get the report implemented or draft some bills from that conference to the National Assembly? But the report of that beautiful document is gathering dust. And we want to set up another for the youth. My brother, do you need somebody to tell you what the youth needs now is a vibrant economy that will fix them? Do you need a conference to know that if we have all the companies back in Nigeria and they are operating at full capacity, most of the youth coming out from universities that I do will get jobs? Do you know how many thousands of Nigerian youths the textile industry alone
can employ,
can absorb and give job? Do you know how many jobs we are going to revamp if we have a constant power supply at affordable price? What do Nigerian youths need more than to be gainfully employed? What do they need more than to have an economy that will treat them like human beings? What do they need than to have the security to protect their investments? What do they need than to have a conducive environment for those who want to be entrepreneurs among them? To have easy loan. Do they need a conference to tell you that you cannot get loan to start anything in Nigeria with over 28% increase? Even when the loan was 20% increase, Obasanjo himself said that there's nothing you can do in Nigeria with loan and make profit unless you grow cocaine. That's what I'm put it. The loan you get in Nigeria now is just take this loan, go to Europe, go and get scrap, and come and sell it to Kumbo, whether clothes or pants or bra. My brother, how will any youth survive in that environment that industries, those set up industries, those who have skilled brains, cannot start anything on their own? Didn't we know the problem? Don't we know the problem the power sector is creating in this country? Do you need any conference to settle that one? Do you need any conference to let the banks know that they are declaring billions of profit every month, every year, but the economy is not growing at all? What I think some of them are promising single-digit loan. Where is it now in the country? So do our Nigerian youth need a conference to know that if they are doing well, not everybody wanted to participate in government. Do you understand? Elon Musk was in an environment that is doing fantastically well, so good. But if Elon Musk, you know, it's a South African origin. If Elon Musk were to be in Nigeria, will he achieve what he's achieving? Which conference they own in America for their youth to be doing what they are doing? Which conference? We are talking of providing a conducive environment for business to thrive, for entrepreneurship to be the driving force of the economy. Not everybody wanted to go to the ministry or to become a business advisor to start on after government. The best people we are talking about in the world now, are they political? Do they have political appointments that are changing their world? See what China is doing. See what China is producing every day. See the economy of China how moving at geometric proportion. The youth doing wonders there. Are they in government? Whatever. So what we are saying is that we need a good conducive environment for business to thrive. We need an environment where there will be enough power supply at affordable price. We need an environment to grow our industries, where people can come and invest in Nigeria. People where entrepreneurs in Nigeria will succeed. Do you need a conference for that? What was there any conference before introduced student loan? Was there any conference? That's what I'm saying. So why is just a distraction? And with that one, those people that are making noise now, you come there in Abuja for 30 days. So they will be exposed to all these things that they're supposed not to know that's happening in the country. Because when they are just credit their bank alert, they just credit their banks, they're just to be alert for nothing. One allowance or the other within 30 days. So those people will now come now and join, now be another class. You understand? Fighting, knowing that you have enough to eat in government. You understand? And so you are going there to police them. You want for 30 days, and if you really want to expose them to what they ought not to know, their generation that's supposed to inherit from this generation. It's a distraction, a waste of time, waste of resources, and that will not produce any result. Because I know we have to realize to ourselves. We have to realize to ourselves. We just have to realize. Are they coming back to give us another Silicon Valley? Do you understand? No, I don't know. Let this man fix this part or this power. As I'm talking in my house, I rely mostly on
solar. Oh,
but generator, you know, 1,100 per liter. You understand? And unfortunately, the capacity of my solar cannot pump water, but they can charge phone on my system. Do you know what I'm saying? That's the problem we are facing. How will any entrepreneur survive in this environment? How will anybody in private business survive? So what are they going to talk? What are they going to say that we don't know? My brother is a distraction, and well, it's good for him if Nigerians could fall into that. After all, it's like when we are playing what we call it World Cup now. Nigeria is going to play match. All of us will forget that
we have problems that we are facing.
We have problems. Even if you have to stress from here.
In fact, the fuel we are complaining of 1,100, we'll buy it to watch the match.
To watch match now, so we forget it's a temporary relief. At least to forget our suffering.
Mr. Miwa, let's
that 30 days. I want to let's say have a comic kind of whatever to douse tension. Well, let's go and watch the circuit show there.
Okay, Mr. Miwa, before I let you go, by the way, it's Mainland 98.3 FM. This is the Situation Room, and my guest on the show today has been Mr. Miwa Adeyemi, the chief political editor of Guardian newspaper. And we've looked at two major issues today. First off, the necessity for the reshuffling of the cabinet of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I mean, according to Mr. Bayo Nonuga, so it has become a matter of when and not if. And now that the president had gone to the UK for 2 weeks, officially on his annual leave, there are also words, especially if you look at the front page of Guardian newspaper today, you understand that picture there, then you understand what it means. That once the president moves into his own aircraft, every other aircraft that goes into the UK, you have to check how many politicians will be on board of those aircraft to pay visit to Mr. President. The same president they escorted to the airport, the same president they were with in Nigeria just a few days ago, now they will fly to UK again to go and say hello to Mr. President. Well, it's intense period right now. Everybody's lobbying to replace, to be redeployed. Let's see how it goes. And also we looked at the announcement of the president on the 1st of October that is going to be a 30 days national youth conference. And a lot of people have asked, to what end? How many days do we even need to fix the problem of the entire country? Talk less of the problem of the Nigerian youth. And my guest says, you know what? It is just a ploy to distract the people. Because I can tell you authoritatively now that the lobbying for these members that represent the 36 state and the FCT is going on strong. So it has now become a matter of who knows who you know, who the person you know also know. This is where you will know that your godfathers are also godsons to some people when the intensity of this lobbying is up here. But before we open the phone line, Mr. Miwa, very quickly, let's look at the House of Representatives. Well, when the president announced, the conferment of national honors on some Nigerians, deserving Nigerians, according to the president, the issue of the CFR, that's the commander of the Federal Republic, that was conferred on the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, was rejected by the House of Reps. And that was the motion that was moved by the Honorable Philip Agbese of APC Benue State and was supported by 359 other members of the House. They said they are rejecting the conferment of the CFR on the Speaker of House of Representatives, and they're asking the president to give the exact national honor he gave to the Senate president, which is GCON. In that same week, that was yesterday on the floor of the House, about 4 days or so, or 2 or 3 sittings earlier, there was a public, how do I put it now? An opening generally, where the issue of the VDM, Idris, the one everyone calls Bobrisky. I'm trying to put it in context. God help me. And then you look at how those issues were debated in the face of all of the challenges that you have listed today. Mr. Miwa Adeyemi, the democracy in everywhere in the world is hinged on 3 major factors. The government, which covers the 3 arms of government, the press, which is what we're doing right now, and the people that enjoys those democracy. We've seen the executive, we've seen the judiciary in their own element. But let's look at the legislative arm of government. Are these misplaced priorities at this crucial moment, especially from the parliament that just came back from 8 weeks and another 1 week extended break? Now we're back here. We're discussing issues of Very Dark Man and Idris Okuneye. We're discussing the fact that they don't want CFR for the speaker, but they want GCON. How and where are we exactly with legislative commitment in Nigeria, Mr. Miwa?
Well, I think these 2 issues we are talking about here just clearly shows the kind of people we have in National Assembly and how much understanding they have about their oversight and their function. And it's quite unfortunate for the country. First and foremost, who cares about any honor given to whether the Speaker, Abbas, or whatever? what has honor gone to do with most of the problems Nigerians have with? Are they people of honor in the first instance? So if they know they are people of honor, let them go and walk in the streets of Nigeria and see what's going to happen with those honors. So if their works not earn them honors, and the thing by just a mere proclamation, they are getting that honor, well, I think that should not be interest of any Nigeria. And but for the purpose of explaining things to our people here, in the National Assembly, we have lower chamber and upper
chambers.
In everything, they are not the same and equal. in salary, in privileges, in allowances,
in coverage,
they are not the same. In coverage. When we are talking of these ministers now, by the time the president will send the name of the ministers, he's sending it only to the Senate. So not joint assembly. To the Senate. And if the president gives GCFR to Abbas now, if he becomes a senator tomorrow, what would they give him? If he imagines the Senate president tomorrow,
maybe you ask for GCFR.
All right. So, but what I'm saying is that, my brother, that should not be an issue for us, and they should know that yes, all fingers are never equal, and the House of Reps and the House of Senate and Senate, they are not equal. If anybody's in that of that, the next election, let them go and contest. So you know that your capacity can only go for rep. That's why you you didn't contest for the Senate. So we know what it is. So they are not equal, and in everything, in no program, in remuneration, in privileges, in salary, they are not the same. You can go and Google even the salary of the rampart and what the salary as given by rampart. They are not the same. So I don't know where they want to be same now. Number one. Number two, of kind of what they are doing, that some of us are just that's become I think I don't know. You know, it's like we're having kind of a Charlie Boy issue, or I think there's this one play my colleague used to do, you know, that makes us to laugh in the olden days. I don't know. Papa Jasco.
That's Papa Jasco and company.
And company. They've turned the National Assembly to that. You know, you only go there when you want to laugh. You understand? So if you don't have, if you don't have time to watch Nollywood, right, or African magic, so once you tune to National Assembly, I think they are going to laugh. You understand? So they are not serious. They are not serious. You know, the guy, this blogger, VDM, what do you call it? Let's call him the son of a whistleblower now. Somebody, because somebody a business gone hurry between Bobrisky and his American partner. Not private somebody borrow money. He did not pay the money back. He gave a contract to VDA
to blow the whistle.
to blackmail Bobrisky to pay his money. Right? That was Genesis. And he alleged certain things, which are very good. Do you understand? If they allege that EFCC, because they took money and expunged, I think, money laundering charges from issues. That's an allegation. We have institutions that will investigate that one. It also alleged that Bobrisky did not, I think, sleep in
In the prisons, in the prison cells.
In the prison, that maybe a special apartment which nobody can doubt. Because when Bobrisky came out from the prison,
as if he was sentenced to a foreign jail.
Not even this is not foreign jail. Maybe he was sentenced to Nikonoga.
Maybe.
Do you understand? Or a 5 or 3-star hotel. So, and solitary confinement that be in this hotel.
Just be enjoying, don't go out. Don't post on social media. Just stay there.
As good as saying you are locking me in one Sheraton or one of these 5-star hotels in Lagos. So don't go out of this place for the next 6 months. But whatever you want, you understand, you get. I may not complain too much. You understand? And because I may not complain too much. Because what you have access to coffee in this Nigeria nowadays. So you are not going to buy petrol, you are not going to buy this one. So you are not going to, nobody will ask you for 100K. You understand? So and you saw he or she, when it came out, he added flesh, look more.
Mr. DME, for context, we're talking about Iṛsᴜ. According to the judgment, he identified as a man. So let us just stick with he.
Let's say he.
Okay.
Let's agree with he. But someone was imagining if it was locked into the male prison. Don't understand? I think you can best imagine what will happen there. Anyway, don't understand? But the point we are making here is that these allegations were made. We have institutions that can investigate it in Nigeria and report back to the government or even to the National Assembly. Not like what is the purpose of National Assembly calling VDA? Nigeria Assembly. Who is VDA? Who is he? Yes, the good Nigerian, like you and I, that wasting Nigerian time. I like the guy. If you don't know what to do, you're inviting me. He made mess of them. What they were asking him was telling them, if I talk, make I die. So he was now saying something then apart from, because they have given the platform to be known by all the social media, by everybody. So he was now making one allegation or the other, just enjoy the popularity given to him because we called for it, making a whole mess of the National Assembly. And I think I clap for the guy because if you don't know what to do, and somebody must call you a fool. I'm telling you the truth because this issue, they don't have to be involved at this stage. If you are to be involved in it, after the investigation by relevant authorities, and you see that these things are not properly being handled, you can only advise that they should try them in court. Or sit on the report or the investigation. And even there's been an investigation, we are now working on that report. There is some cases. Because it has been investigated and it was not properly investigated. That's why we are now using the oversight function and to look at it. Yes, but which report are you working on? So why do you become a investigative panel or a law court asking a boss to go and address you? Asking them to come and address you. You understand? Thank God the guy ridiculed them. And it should be on the outside of the assembly. That if nobody has ridiculed them, for the first time, somebody ridiculed them. And Nigeria should know that one. But my brother, when you have many issues, you cannot tax your brain to find solutions. When your constituents are hungry and angry, you don't have solution to their problems. and you are not pretending to be doing something for them. Do you know these guys that are there? They were there to represent you and I. They're supposed to speak our mind. How many of them speaking to our mind that we are hungry in this country? How many of them speaking our mind that I think this hardship is getting out of hand? How many of them thinking that what's going to happen to the problem we're going to have with the food security in this country? You know the rain did not fall at appropriate time, supposed to fall to help our farmers. And with the insecurity we are battling, many farmers ran away from the farm. The rain did not give them enough produce. Who is thinking of how are we going to have enough food in this country next year, when we're going to have the consequence of what's happening now? Who is thinking in that direction? Who is thinking of how to make sure we have irrigation immediately for the shortfall we are expecting? Who is thinking in that direction? Who is thinking about factories that are folding up in the country? Who is thinking about students that cannot even pay school fees? Osun State University, UI, let's talk of UI, from 100,000 to 400,000 naira. Who is speaking to that? In an economy, you are saying minimum wage is 70,000, and when you are fixing this 70,000, one price was 558. With that, we have not started implementing it, that the pump price has jumped to 1,100 naira. When you fix minimum price at 70,000, we are still buying rice at 70,000, 70,100. So before we started the implementation, we have gone to 100,000 naira per bag, and we still want those civil servants to send their children to schools. Do you know the unity schools owned by the government? Do you know what they charge now? I think no civil servant that rely only on his salary can train 2 children now. Who is speaking to that? You understand? In our National Assembly. Who is speaking to various challenges we have, bringing multi-dimensional poverty among the people? Now, the number of Nigerians being dragged into poverty net is increasing geometrically every day. Every day. All of us are now once you are not a politician and you don't have access to be getting dubious contracts, all of us are now
on your own.
My brother, in the olden days, in Lagos, you meet traffic here and there. If you see traffic anywhere now, there must be
maybe there's a bad portion on the road.
Bad portion or a vehicle broke down somewhere. Do you understand? People can no longer drive their cars, and there's no hope of when I think things will come to normal. Our national assemblies don't think about that. They don't research on how to solve this problem. So we are now taking the issue of a cross-dresser, Bobrisky, to national discourse. It's quite unfortunate. I hope those people should be, and just say that we don't, if possible, please, in the next 3 years, we don't want you again. Let's call it professional bodies, ethnic association, be making their demands and aggregate it and do it. Just speaking, I don't know the value they are adding to the governance. I simply don't know. You know, we have concluded ever that the rubber stamp. That is whatever the
president says.
Wanted, that's what they do. But they are now adding another version to it, which is comic aspect of their life we don't know. So they are, to me, they are bunch, I think, of insensitive Nigerians that do not understand the enormity of the assignment given to them by Nigeria. They do not understand it. If they do, they will know that there are more pressing matters, pressing issues, agitating minds of Nigerians than talking of Bobrisky matter. I'm telling you the truth. Who is Bobrisky? Maybe some gossip people of lesser minds will be interested. No problem, it's their word. People of lesser minds can continue to discuss that matter. Yes, they have entertained themselves. But bringing such, giving a national dimension, I think is a serious matter that people should wish for this country. Let's reduce governance to this. What kind of people do we have there? It's quite unfortunate. They are not people who we should be talking about now. I think let us know that we have people that are there and the feasting on our taxes, feasting on the resources of this country. I think without any corresponding service rendered to this country, and it's quite unfortunate. I think it's better we don't discuss this nonchalant people. I think let's go this issue. I think it's quite unfortunate.
Thank you, Mr. Miwa. Now let me break this to you. We've spent almost 1.5 hours, and I promised just 1 hour. So thank you. Thank you very much for being my guest on the show today.
Right.
God willing, next week Thursday will be another time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
That was Mr. Miwa Adeyemi, the chief political editor of Guardian newspaper. Interesting conversation, by the way. I mean, I just wonder, in a country where we have a lot of issues that we're dealing with, and then the House of Reps set up a committee and look into an issue that is under investigation, by the way, because the Honorable Minister of Interior, Honorable Olubunmi Ojo, already said that a committee was set up to investigate the issues, and then the House decided to have a public hearing on the same matter that is under investigation. And then we also saw the people invite. In fact, the main culprit or the main accused suspect, let me use that word combined because it's a rare situation. I mean, in a case where you can't even define the gender of the person involved. So it's tough. He didn't even honor the invitation. It's simple. You have ministers, being invited to public hearings. They don't come. We have directors, MDs of agencies and parastatals also being invited by the National Assembly. They don't come. So you have a Nigerian also invited to the National Assembly and he refused to come. Then the other one that came said, if he speaks today, make him die. It's unfortunate how, we've ridiculed the institution of governance that is supposed to be arguably they're in the position and 9 senators, 360 House of Reps members covering the FCT and the other 336 states of the Federation. But they choose to be in the House and have a public hearing to discuss an issue that is under investigation, an issue that has already brought national embarrassment to the country. There's a lot that we need to do if truly we want to be sincere and intentional about fixing this country. It's Mainland 98.3 FM. Let me quickly run through some of the messages that we have on Facebook. It's quite unfortunate that the regime of President Obasanjo was overhyped with unseen edifice. Is it not the same regime where everyone was so same VP that Obasanjo couldn't hand over to? Was it not the same Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala that last allowed the excessive crude oil money to be wasted by the government? Was it not the same Obasanjo that was not capable of repairing the moribund 4 refineries? Which institution did Obasanjo institute solidly? In fact, we all know, but we decided not to mention it. Okay, that's from Kayode Samuel Atonda. Patrick Obiazo says, Can you ever imagine what would be the outcome of a conference where the menace of agbiros and miscreants scattered all over Lagos are gathered for? No. I'll take exception to that. It's an intellectual gathering. Kendi Okpe says, I'm Kendi Okpe from Ijegun. Good evening to you, sir, and your guests. On cabinet reshuffle, the presidential media team have fumbled. They're not supposed to announce it openly because it will allow a lot of lobbying. The president should find a technocrat should find technocrats who are managing directors excelling in their multinational companies, not somebody who chooses politics as a career without holding any private company he or she would develop. The president should bring back Akinwumi Adesina to head the Ministry of Agriculture. And that's going to be a big one there, maybe a tall one, but you never can tell. Tᴜɪᴛᴛᴇʀ says, I want to ask, is it the president that is deceiving us, or we the citizens are the one deceiving ourselves? And can the president be preaching peace and appealing for patience and sacrifice, but always jetting out of the country in his newly bought presidential jet, either for medical leave or tourism? And the citizens are expected to be positive. How does this work? Okay, thank you very much. Benjamin Ise says, it's Nigerian politicians from top to first conversational guest. Stay safe, keep your that were played yesterday. Big result for the underdogs, and also the Conference League and the Europa League that will be played today. Stick with us. It's Mainland 98.3 FM. My name is Oꞌᴏᴜ Akande. Thank you so much, Mr. Miwa, for being my guest on the show today. The program returns tomorrow at 4 p.m. Stick with us.